My name is Ado Mohammed Abubakar. I'm a chartered accountant, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. The cybersecurity levy came as a result of the recently signed Cybercrime Amendment Act 2024. In that act, the act requires or mandated banks to deduct 0.5% from all electronic money transfer and remit same to the Office of the National Security Advisor, not later than 5 days after the end of the month. The rate presently is 0.5%. There are, though they said all transactions, but there are some exemptions to that. And so far, the Central Bank of Nigeria has rolled out 16 transactions that are exempted from that.
Okay.
Those 16 transactions that are exempted are loan disbursement and repayments, and salary payments, then intra-account transfer within the same banks or between different banks for the same customer. For example, I can have account with 2 or more banks. So if I'm transferring between my account to my account, all in my name, that transaction is exempted. And then there is other financial institution instruction to their correspondent bank. There is also interbank placement, then bank transfer to CBN, and also CBN transfer to banks. Then there is inter-branch transfers within banks. Then there are checks, clearing and settlements. Then there is also letters of credit, which are used mainly for international businesses. Then bank recapitalization related transactions. Savings and deposit, including transactions involving long-term investment like treasury bonds and commercial papers. Government, social welfare, and programs like pension. Then not-for-profit and charitable transactions, including donation to registered non-profit organizations or charities. Then there's educational institution transactions, that is payment of tuition fees and other transactions involving schools, universities, or other educational institutions, and also transactions involving banks' internal accounts like suspense account, clearing account, profit or loss, or inter-branch reserves. Then other accounts used for international transactions like Nostro and Bostro, which are somehow technical. Levy, there's slight difference between tax and levies always. Tax you pay it at times without really performing or undertaking any activity that is taxed. But levy is when you make a payment when you undertake a certain activity. So this is a levy because if you don't transact electronically, you don't incur this. But if you transact electronically, then you incur this cost. So the implications or the challenges you ask about this is it is an additional burden to the customers, or let's say to the Nigerian citizen. As we are presently, I think we are paying so much charges through transactions, so many, numerous, ranging from the ones we pay to the bank and then the ones that we pay to the government direct through the banking transaction. For example, presently we have the interbank transfers, we have the SMS alert transfers. If you have a current account, we have the account maintenance charge, then we have the electronic money transfer charges. And in addition to all these charges, all the charges related to bank, presently, we are paying value-added tax to the government. If you pay transfer charges, then there is a VAT attached to that. If you pay account maintenance charges, there is also a VAT attached to that. So meaning we are already paying so much. Then for government now to come and say, oh, we should pay this, you just discover that for every money you have in the bank, by the time you start calculating what you are losing through charges, both the governments and banks, honestly, it is a serious additional burden to the Nigerian citizen.
So, like,
if you take if you want to go by every 1 naira, fine. If you go by 1,000, it's fine. For every 1,000, you pay like a charge of 5 naira. Then if you transact 10,000, you're paying 50 naira, and 100, 500, and so on and so forth. What makes this worse than the earlier electronic money transfer is because it is ad valorem. Ad valorem is it increases with the value of transaction. The more you transact, the higher you pay. Now, if you transfer, just sit down, transfer 1 million naira, government is taking 5,000 naira out of you. If you transfer 10 million, you are talking of paying government 50,000, and so on and so forth. So that is how bad it is. So the effect on even businesses and others is huge. A business that is making a profit of 25,000 naira or 50,000 naira and then having a turnover of like 5 million, we end up paying 50% of his profit to the government as this cybersecurity levy.
So it is that bad?
It is, because if we look at the electronic money transfer, they just fix it as, irrespective of the amount, one from 10,000 and above is just 15 naira. That is fixed. But when they introduce this ad valorem, that is, it goes with the value. It means the higher you pay, the higher you transfer, then the higher cost that you pay to the government. If you look at it critically, people naturally hate taxes, even if they benefit from it. And the case of Nigeria actually is unfortunate that all we are paying in the name of taxes and levies, we are seeing nothing to really commensurate what we are paying. So definitely this will bring a very big setback to the government, some government policies that were introduced with a view to achieving financial inclusion. Government has recorded huge success in the financial inclusion. So many people were convinced through the financial technologies, the conventional banking and this thing. Many people were banked. But now with these charges, people will start running from the banks, because when you look at the charges, then you ask yourself, why do I need to put my money in the bank? And then people will resort back to the old method of keeping their monies under the pillows, in the pots, or hiding it somewhere in the houses just to avoid the charges. So it will bring a very big setback to the financial inclusion, because definitely the achievement or the successes recorded so far will start declining with the introduction of this policy. And also there is potential possibility of even increasing prices and other things, because now everybody will, especially people, the business people, will now start to embed that charges in whatever they do.